Good day watchers, and welcome to another movie review tonight. I've been watching this tonight and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film more than I did when I first watched it in 2000, late 1999. I'm not sure what year it was. And the film is Blair Witch Project. I've been watching this tonight. The original 1999 film, the documentary style film that you see these days in movies that influence other films now. And I've seen quite a lot of good films like freaking Echo did this, and there's like a movie called Echo, and that was a good film. It did the same kind of thing. Then there's a few other horror films that I've seen that have done the same kind of documentary style, you know, where the camera, you know, shakes and stuff. Yeah, kind of like moves around with the camera and stuff, recording their situations they've been in. So yeah, really, I mean, when I first watched this in 2000. 1999, I'm not sure what it was. I wasn't keen on it, and that's my honest opinion. This is the first time I've seen it since then, and that's how much I liked it. Usually, where I can watch a film and enjoy it and watch it again. But this is like the second time I've seen this one. Of course, I've got the second one on Blu-ray, which I enjoyed. Actually, the second one does. There's a second one, but that got terrible reviews. But then they rebooted it and they made the Blair Witch, which I enjoyed. And I didn't realise that takes place just after that movie, 20 years after. Oh wow. But yeah, when I first watched it, I was not scared. Me and my brother watched it. I think it was VHS, must be VHS. And I was sitting there watching it. And when it finished, I kind of looked at my brother and went, "What the hell was that?" And it was, you know, to be honest, it didn't scare me once. When I watched it again, my honest opinion, it didn't. Slightly bit more creepier the film was when I first watched it. When I first watched it, I did not get the film at all, because I've never seen a film at the time. I never saw a film where the camera's just going all the way while someone's holding the camera and being scared. I've never seen that before. I've seen it lately in films, modern day freaky movies and stuff like that. But this is the first time this film you actually see that in a film. But watching now, you know what, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it now more than I did then. I didn't really understand it, to be honest, because it was all shaky camera work. It felt cheap, the film did. It felt really cheap, because I saw no monsters in it. I saw no freaking CGI effects in this film. But it's like, anyway, let's just get to the story first. Okay, right. Okay, it starts in October 1994. 3 students, filmmakers, disappeared in the woods near Buckettville, Maryland, while shooting a documentary. A year later, their footage was found. Yeah, so these people get lost in the woods, right? Of course, you know the story. It's like a recording of what they're doing. Of course, they get lost because one of the plunkers loses the map on purpose. And then you start hearing these freaking weird creepy noises outside the tent. There's three of the characters, there's 2 guys and a woman. And they're all like friends and stuff. They go into the woods, and of course she's doing most of the shooting and stuff. Of course there's a lot of arguments going off in the group, because she keeps filming if they're in trouble and stuff like that. So certain things don't fly, of course. They don't like it. They're like having arguments. Why are you still recording this shit? It's not the scariest film I've ever seen, because I watched it now and I think it's still not scary, but it did kind of like, there's certain parts that did make it slightly bit creepy and uncomfortable. But I just about survived all that, because I watched films like, it's not as scary as films like Conjuring or Conjuring 2, the Annabelle films. Not as scary as that, full stop, but the second one is, they made it 20 years later or whatever year, I can't remember that, 20 years later. The second one takes place 20 years after that film, so that was scarier, the one they did afterwards. Not the Blair Witch Project 2 one, what's that one called? Book of Shadows or something? I can't remember that. Well, that film got terrible reviews, but the one they did after that, the Blair Witch, was a really good film. I enjoyed it. But the original one, actually I was impressed with it. Now, like I said, at the time I didn't know how much the film cost. I was like 20 years old, you know, I didn't really care. I just like a film that's enjoyable. But when I watched it now, I was impressed with it, because I've never seen that before at the time. I mean, it was an interesting concept of and it was, like I said, influence other films later on. There's other films been doing exactly the same thing, you know, recording scares. But they've seen a film called Alien Abduction. They did that. Is that Alien Abduction film? They did the same thing, and that was really good. I think that was recorded. I watched that a few weeks back, and it's a really good film. And that was scary. I was like, Jesus Christ. And that was pretty intense, that film was. Like I said, it influenced films a lot, and Echo, and even the other Blair Witch Project film. The Blair Witch. But yeah. Now, if I watched this, if I was doing this reviews years ago, like 20 years ago when I first watched it, I would have given this film about a 3 out of 10. I would have given it a 3 out of 10 because, like I said, I didn't understand it. I thought, yeah, I was sitting there, that was crap. It wasn't scary. It wasn't, because like I said, at the time I was like, you know, I was young, and you know, but like I said, it's not a perfect film. But the thing is, the film made like a lot of money out of the box office. Jesus, worldwide, it's like crazy. If I made a film that much, man, people didn't like it, but it made a lot of money, I wouldn't give a monkeys, you know. I'd say, and how much did the film make, you know? So yeah, the film made a lot of money out of the box office. It did get a lot of, thinger, because it was in the papers. I think it was in the papers where people said there was what going out, leaving our cinema because it was being sick or something. I mean, because it was scary, but I've watched it and I'm like, it's not the scariest film I've ever seen, but I did like it, especially the fact that that one takes place afterwards, which is good. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's like, it's really good the way they did it. But I can see what they was doing with the film. You know, I was really interested by it. It's one of those movies that it's not a long film either, so it's got some cool. I mean, now it's like quite tame compared to like other films. It's not too gory. You do see a bit of blood in it. There's a bit of swearing in it too, but apart from that, it's one of those films that you could watch and decide for yourself if it's good or bad. But like I said, the budget they did it with, it's quite impressive. It's not like HD or anything. It's just a raw video with a VHS tape and stuff like that. I like that. I like that VHS quality. If you look at some of my videos before, I did like a VHS kind of like retro video, and I like that because I like that old classic retro worn out tape kind of like thing. It's pretty cool. It's very effective. Yeah, but I do like the fact that it's a good film though. I do like it. Because the last part was quite screwed up because there's part at the end where there's one part where one of the guys just vanishes. You don't know what happens to him, but you hear him outside the tent shouting for some reason. And they're deciding among themselves if it's him. And then it makes you think about it. You think, is it him or is it not him? You know. So yeah, because even I'm thinking, is it him? Can't be him. Because if it was him, he was saying, I'm over here. You know, help me. And another thing, why the hell doesn't it turn up in the daylight? It just vanishes and that's it. It only pops up at night. And that last part where they pop up and find the house, now that was interesting because I was trying to decide for myself, thinking to myself, is that the same house from the Blair Witch film, the sequel they did a few years back? And it looked like the same house. I was like, oh, that's the same house, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Which is fantastic, by the way, because when they go in the house, it's all kind of like, it's a dump, the place is a dump, but it does look familiar from that film. And so they kind of recreate that old house from that film. I think so anyway, it looks the same anyway. So yeah, and you can actually hear their friend in the house somewhere. And I'm like, what there? And the last part's pretty screwed up what happens on there. You don't really see much, you just see the camera dropping and stuff, and the character. You see the back of the guy and stuff like that. And that was kind of creepy, that scene. But like I said, it's not the scariest film I've seen. It didn't make my heart freaking go brrrr. Oh my god. You know, no, but it was kind of tame compared to those Conjuring films and Annabelle films. But like I said, the budget of this film was incredible. So the rating I'm going to give this film is a... Actually, before I do that, things I liked about the film, the fact that it influenced other films later on, the documentary style thing, and the performances was quite good. I like the fact that they make it like as if they're actually real, not really acting, which is good. Some creepy moments in it, not like super terrifying, but yeah, I said, the way they did it was quite unique. The way they did it, very unique film for the time, for 1999, very unique. At the time, it's never been done before. It's creeper, it's kind of creeper. So it's not really the scariest film I've seen, but I like it though. I did like that. It did make me a bit uncomfortable in certain parts where the camera's like going, it's in the dark and the camera's moving side to side. Like, I was thinking something's going to jump out. You know, if I know that, I've seen it before. It's like I said, it's a long time ago since I saw it, but I like it though. I do like it now. I like it more than I did then. At the time, I would have given it a 3 out of, or 4 out of 10. But now, when I've watched it again, so the view I'm going to give this film, the first one, the first Blair Witch Project, between a 7 and 8. I liked it so. I give it an 8 out of 10 because I liked it. 8 out of 10 for the Blair Witch Project. Not a bad movie actually when you watch it again. So yeah, it's a film called The Blair Witch. Now, I can say, you like my last review, you know, you tell I like that one. This one, well, this one takes place 20 years after, well, anyway, it takes years after the found videotape of the last movie, if you know what I mean. Because the found videotape was like the original one, and it takes place 20 years after. It's kind of confusing the way you say it, because the first one was set place in 1994, and the original movie was made in 1999, so it's a bit confusing. But what I'm going to do is tell you what I thought of the film. Well, I'm going to read the back first and give you a bit of a clue what the film's got. Okay, helmed by director Adam Wingard. You're next, the guest and VHS third. Blair Witch goes back to its found footage roots 20 years after James' sister and his two friends vanished into the Black Hills Forest in Maryland while researching the legend of Blair Witch, leaving a trail of theories and suspicions in their wake. Of course, different director who did this one compared to the first one. The first one was more low budget. Now, if you watch the original one, you know it's low budget. Now this one I watched and I was like, wow. You know, I like the fact that I like the fact that it does take place 20 years after the original. Of course, this one, his brother, the girl's brother in the first film. No, the girl's brother in the first film. The girl in the first film, his brother, and tries to look for her in this movie, of course. So yeah, of course, there's more characters in this one compared to the first one. And the first one there's like 6 characters in this one, of course, because there's like 4 of them, and then they meet these 2 other people who know about the Blair Witch, and of course they go along with them because they kind of doped them to joining them into the adventure to find his sister or something. What happened to her, of course. There's like a bit of a twist and suspicions and untrust among the group after that. So it's kind of like a deja vu thing where they don't know where they are when they end up in the forest again. They don't know where they are because they lost the bearings. The things start going weird, of course. It's like they wake up in the middle of the night, right? It's still in the middle of the day. It's dark. And they can't understand what's going on. Of course, there's still a bit of a twist about the other 2 who join them, of course. But yeah, it's got some great moments. It's a slight bit more budget than the original one. The original one was like quite cheap. It was quite a cheap budget, the original one, and that's what I like about it. I never really liked it at the beginning. I really didn't understand the original one, but now I've watched that one, I enjoy it more. I've enjoyed it actually. I thought that's not bad. That's actually a pretty good film, the original one. I mean, if you make a film out of £20,000 and make about over 2 million, that's freaking great, that is. I mean, you can shit on that movie as much as you like, but you gotta give it credit though. You gotta give it some credit. Of course, the second one takes place after this one, after that one, of course. Because at the beginning of the film, you do see this footage that they find. You think it's from the, and there's like a twist in that old scene because you think, hang on a minute, well, that's an interesting twist where the footage was actually found. because he thinks it's his sister, of course. And it's interesting. You do see the witch in this a little bit, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's kind of creepy looking. You do hear a backstory of how she was killed and what she did and stuff like that. She sounds quite a nutter, actually. Quite a nutter. But anyway, they do end up in the forest, of course, so it happens, and they have an argument. They kick the other group out to the girl with the purple hair and stuff like that. Actually, she's quite nice looking, actually. Anyway, so, yeah, she's a nice looking girl. And I like her, actually. But then they kick her out, they kick them both out, of course. Because this, you know, so it happens, and I won't say too much. Well, okay, I will do, because one of them, like, they both, like, planted these things around the freaking camp, pretending that it's that the witch that's, of course, they're like, oh, what the hell, one of them, anyway, so, yeah, of course, then they say, well, we never made those signs, of course, and then, you know, that's impossible, yeah, you think, nah, they come to make those signs, it's impossible, of course, the suspicions, they leave the group, of course, they get lost, and they find him again, of course, one of their friends, he goes out in the woods on his own. He's like on his own somewhere, and he sees something like a creepy little thing in the woods. And of course, something drops the tree on him. Of course, that scene was cool. I was like, Jesus Christ! And he gets taken away by the by whatever it is in the woods, of course, forest. It's got some jump scares and it's got some scary moments in it. I was just like, Jesus Christ! It does make you jump a lot. Because you have characters jumping out every time. It's like scary as hell. Yeah, enjoyed it. Of course, now you see a lot of this like film footage now, found footage because of the Blair Witch Project. Now, if it wasn't for the Blair Witch Project, we wouldn't see like the Blair Witch, even that sequel they made that people didn't like. We wouldn't see like films like Echo and films like Alien Abduction and films. There's a lot of actually some of it's actually pretty good. Actually, I've seen quite a lot of good ones. The Alien Abduction ones were really good. Oh, made me jump a few times. But if it wasn't for the Blair Witch Project, it wouldn't have those kind of things. So I give that film a lot of credit. Like I see my last review, I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it because when I first watched it, like I said, I didn't like it. I just thought, what the hell was that crap, you know? Because, like I said, I've never seen anything like it. Now I've watched more of these films, and I've watched this one, I understand it now. But it's a good film, it's a really good film, Blair Witch Project. Now I appreciate it more now than before. I never really appreciated it. I thought, no, I want a load of rubbish, but now I'm like, good film, good film. And when I was watching, I thought, this is actually pretty good. I like the fact that it's low budget, there's no CGI or anything, it's just like, you know, raw material, I suppose you could call it, raw material, raw, it's like raw movie making, I like that, the rawness to it, you know, instead of making it all CGI and stuff like that. Of course, this one's kind of got more budget in it, and it still looks great. Of course, I like the way you kind of like do it, not towards the original one, and you actually do see a bit of footage from the original one. Yeah, solid cast, solid performance from the cast, and it does have some really quite scary moments. I like the fact they've got this like this drone thing that kind of, you know, goes up and down, like, and it kind of like looks a bit, you know. And of course that gets stuck in the tree, of course, so it happens to it. There's a nasty part where one girl gets a foot infection, man. It's like, you can know what it is, this horrible sound like every time she walks, it goes right through me, it's like, Jesus Christ. And then when you actually see it, it's like, see something moving in her foot, it's like, yeah. It's horrible because I mean, I've had a problem with my foot once before when I stood on something, man, and I had like my foot went swollen at the bottom, and it kind of reminds that it looked, that looked worse actually, but yeah, it's horrible. It's this really nasty part of the side of the bottom of your foot that's quite tender, quite sensitive, and it was painful. I had it for like quite a few days, and I went somewhere and a doctor whatever was, and of course they kind of just took painkillers and it went down, and the pain actually went after as well. It's weird. When they said there was nothing wrong with it, of course, just, you know, and the pain kind of went. I don't know what happened. So I was like wearing like slippers and stuff. I was wearing like one normal shoe and a slipper. It was uncomfortable. I was like, Jesus. So I know. So yeah, having the bottom of my foot like that is painful as well. It's really uncomfortable. And when I saw it in the film, it looked freaking horrible. It made this whole sound every time she walked. It goes through you. But it looked nasty actually. Then yeah, so something happens to her in the tree, and so she goes up in the tree. Tries to get the freaking drone, so what happens there? Of course, they all get split up, of course. So kind of all hell breaks loose in the wood, in the you know, because there's something in there ready to kill them, of course. And I like the way they connected the first one to this one. They kind of end all the Book of Shadows, they end all of that, and just like they just jumped over that and just freaking jumped, and it's really good. I'm not sure what the views were good. I'm not sure what the views were like in this, but I'm guessing some people didn't like it. I'm just guessing because it's always like that. That Plonker who doesn't like a certain film because there's certain things steep, but this film was really well done. I'd say the second one was, or the third one maybe. The guy did a great job with the scares in it. Especially that last bit when they actually find the house from the original one. I thought that was fantastic. I love that scene. I think it was the original house they used in the original one because it looks exactly the same. And that must be, you know, they could have just made that house. They could have made a replica of that house if it's possible, but I don't know. Yeah, they did a great job. I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. That spot was really intense. It's like a part where they're in the house, right? And she's holding the camera here, so she got to see the witch, whatever it is. And she could see it behind, and that is a great moment that in the movie. I just thought that's such an inventive, intense moment where she's kind of got the camera, so she doesn't have to see the witch, whatever it is. That's chasing her in the house. There's something there in the house, you can see it, but yeah, it's quite a creepy movie. I was just like, Jesus Christ. Waiting for them to make a third one to this. I've got a funny feeling I might see a third one eventually. Hopefully. But I liked it. Like I said, if it wasn't for the first one, you won't see these these camera moves where they actually walk around the camera and there's like scares and stuff. You won't see none of that anymore. You wouldn't actually see that, but maybe one day someone would have done that before the BLAIR Witch, and probably would have happened eventually. So yeah. But that's what made the BLAIR Witch project so unique. Was that type of movie making, raw and scary. I mean, yeah, I admit when I first watched it, wasn't scary. I just thought, what the hell was that? Oh, I watched it again. It was slightly scarier than I watched it. Well, not super scary, but still quite creepy in the era, and with the sound effects and stuff. And it was still pretty scary. But I would admit the second one was slightly more scary than that one. So yeah, just it had some jump out moments, scary moments like like your typical found footage movies. It was creepy. It was really, like I said, I like the second one. Really good film, or the third one we call it, the BLAIR Witch. So, right. Let's get to the review now, shall we? So, what did I think of it? I liked it a lot. They kept the kind of like nod to the original movie by mentioning the original one, the characters and stuff, which I liked. I liked some of the scares in it. Was pretty scary film, and the sounds that you hear in the forest, scary. They had some like jump out moments. Jesus Christ. Solid performance from the cast. And a nice little twist at the end, of course. So yeah. I like the fact you see the witch a little bit. And it's just, she's not very nice looking, of course. She's not like, oh okay, she's a hot looking witch. Just goes, baby. She's got no, she's like long and shit, and of course there's an explanation why she's so damn long. So, stretch her. So my honest opinion about this film, I liked it a lot. Really liked it. So the rate I'm going to give this film is a 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's got some really well made moments in it that I don't think I've ever seen it in a film before. Horror film, like the camera just walking with the camera behind. It was pretty cool, that scene was. And it's got some kind of really, like I said, it's got some like nods towards the original movie, which I liked. Yeah, so 8 out of 10 for the BLAIR Witch. Good film. I like the first one, I like the second one. So yeah. So anyway, people, if you ever get lost in the wars, make sure you got a freaking map. Make sure you haven't got some idiot who freaking plays your map and then loses it. And then you have an argument, and you get chased by a witch, get killed, murdered, whatever, mutilated, and then talk about. And remember to subscribe to my channel. And like I said, if you ever want to put what you reckon of both BLAIR Witch project moves, and what do you think of it? So put the comments below. I'll try to reply to your comments. And have a nice day. See ya.